And you're listening to Local Radio Central, and time is 12 minutes past 6 on a Sunday afternoon, or evening, I suppose, really. What have you been doing this Sunday? It's been beautiful weather here in central Otago. Beautiful clear skies above. Yeah, fantastic. What have we got in the show for you today? Well, which company is announcing a global animal welfare program? Listen in and you will find out. There's another country that has cancelled seismic testing, which is fantastic news for the sea life. And there's an animal which gets high on pufferfish. Have a guess at which one that will be. Keep listening and you will find out. There will be another recipe. As always, we encourage you to phone in if you'd like to on 445-1911. You're also welcome to like our Facebook page, Classic Gold or Radio Cromwell. Broadcasting to you live from the studio in Cromwell today, and let's have some more music. You're listening to Local Radio Central, and that was Eddie Murphy and Rick James with Party All the Time. And before that we had A Great Big World with Say Something, Say Something. Well, I've got something to say, which is that a team of researchers at Michigan State University has developed a new type of solar concentrator that, when placed over a window, creates solar energy while allowing people to actually see through the window. It's called a transparent luminescent solar concentrator and can be used on buildings, cell phones and any other device that has a clear surface. And according to Richard Lunt of MSU's College of Engineering, the key word is transparent. Research in the production of energy from solar cells placed around luminescent plastic-like materials is not new. These past efforts, however, have yielded poor results. The energy production was inefficient and the materials were highly coloured. No one wants to sit behind colour glass, said Lunt, an assistant professor in chemical engineering and material science. It makes for a very colourful environment, like working in a disco. We take an approach where we actually make the luminescent active layer itself transparent. The solar harvesting system uses small organic molecules developed by Lunt and his team to absorb specific non-visible wavelengths of sunlight. We can tune these materials to pick up just the ultraviolet and the near-infrared wavelengths that then glow at another wavelength in the infrared, he said. The glowing infrared light is guided to the edge of the plastic where it is converted to electricity by thin strips of photovoltaic solar cells. Because the materials do not absorb or emit light in the visible spectrum, they look exceptionally transparent to the human eye, Lunt said. One of the benefits of this new development is its flexibility. While the technology is at an early stage, it has the potential to be scaled to commercial or industrial applications with an affordable cost. It opens a lot of area to deploy solar energy in a non-intrusive way, Lunt said. It can be used on tall buildings with lots of windows or any kind of mobile device that demands high aesthetic quality like a phone or e-reader. Ultimately, we want to make solar harvesting surfaces that you do not even know are there. Lunt said more work is needed in order to improve its energy producing efficiency. Currently, it's able to produce a solar conversion efficiency close to 1%, but noted they aim to reach efficiencies beyond 5% when fully optimized. The best coloured LSC has an efficiency of around 7%. So there you go. They've got a wee while to go yet, but yeah, very interesting. And we always like to hear breakthroughs in solar technology because they are happening all the time. Local Radio Central, and that was Coldplay with Magic. And before that we had Shocking Blue with Venus. Absolutely love that song, fantastic. Now, so I've got some fantastic news for the Arctic Ocean, actually, which is that Norway has stopped seismic testing for oil in the area. The Greenpeace ship Esperanza was kind of checking out what was going on in the area, and they found that Norway was doing some seismic testing in the Arctic Circle around Svalbard. And now, unfortunately for them, Norwegian regulations state that the icy waters around Svalbard are off limits for oil exploration, and thus they were forced to cancel the rest of their plans. So very good news that the Esperanza was there and able to expose what was going on, and they're stopped. They've admitted they're in the wrong and cancelled the rest of their plans, which is very good news for the Arctic Ocean and for all the cetaceans that are in the area. Time is 6:33, and we've got some more music for you, so do keep listening.
Oh, that's a sound no one wants to hear, but it happens. Your beautiful vehicle dented or worse. To get the repair...
You're listening to Local Radio Central, broadcasting to you today from Cromwell, and that was Dave Cos with Castle of Dreams. Before that we had the lovely Don Gibson with Sea of Heartbreak. Well, it is rapidly coming up to the top of the hour. We've got 18 minutes to 7 reading that here in the studio. I've got time for a community notice for you, which is that the Central Otago Wine Club meets on Wednesday, the 27th of August, 6:30 at the Nose in Cromwell. We will deliver the mysteries of Chardonnay with the help of Anna Hutt, Mount Edward's assistant winemaker and a big Chardonnay fan. Please feel free to invite your friends. It will cost $25 per person, including cheese platters and wines. Please book your tickets by contacting Alexis first on 022 137 2710. That's 022 137 2710, and then making payment before Monday, the 25th of August. Santé, so they say. Okay, we've got some more music coming up for you. We've got a bit of David Bowie, so if you fancy a bit of him, keep listening.
I'm at the Tin Goose Cafe in the Mall, Cromwell.
Local Radio Central, that was the fantastic David Bowie with China Girl. And before that we had Daughtry with September. Now, we have had the recycling's been in the news quite recently, as our recycling has changed and our waste bins have changed and all sorts of things have changed, and some people have been unhappy about it and some people haven't. But the question is there any point in recycling? What, how useful is it to do so? Well, you do actually save quite a lot of energy. By recycling glass, you save 40% of the energy that you would instead of making glass from the raw materials. With newspaper, if you recycle your newspaper, 40% of, again, that energy is saved by recycling newspaper instead of making it from raw materials. With steel, 60%. Yeah, and plastic. You know that plastic, and you're like, really, can we actually recycle plastic? 70% of the energy used to make recycled plastic or plastic from recycled materials is saved, which is absolutely fantastic. But the biggie, the real big one, is aluminium with a whopping 95%. Which is, of course, because it's quite energy intensive to extract aluminium from its ore of bauxite. So there you go. Recycling works. Keep doing it. Time is 7 minutes to 7. Let's see if we can squeeze in a couple more tracks for you.
The telecom name may have changed, but the staff at Sparks Business Hub...
Local Radio Central, that was David Archuleta there with Crush. And before him we had the fabulous Dionne Warwick with I'll Never Love This Way Again. Well, will you love lasagna again? Well, we've got a new take on an old recipe for you, which is a basil, pesto and green peas lasagna. So if you've got your paper and pen ready, I will give you the ingredients and let you know how it goes. Now, we need 480 grams of basil leaves. You're going to need 120 grams of pine nuts. Now, there's pine nuts later, so altogether you're going to want 240, but just for this bit we want 120 grams. 60 mils of olive oil, 2 garlic cloves, a pinch of salt. For the green peas filling, you're going to want 280 grams of silken tofu, 960 grams of frozen green peas, 120 mils of coconut cream, and salt and pepper to taste. Now, when you put the lasagna all together, you're going to need 120 mils of coconut cream, 12 no-boil lasagna noodles, and that other 120 grams of pine nuts. Okay, so to make the pesto, place the basil leaves in a food processor or blender. Add the pine nuts, garlic and a pinch of salt and pulse until ground. Then slowly pour in the olive oil, mixing until it reaches a creamy texture. Spoon the basil into a bowl and in the same food processor place the silken tofu, green peas, coconut cream, salt, pepper and mint. Pulse until smooth and well blended. To assemble the lasagna, take a deep dish baking pan and grease it slightly with olive oil. Spread a thin layer of peas filling on the bottom of the pan, then top up with lasagna noodles. The next layer is basil pesto, followed by peas filling and again the noodles. So repeat these noodles, pesto, peas filling layering and make sure that you end up with a layer of pesto. Pour the coconut milk over the lasagna and top with pine nuts. Bake in the preheated oven at 190 degrees C for about an hour. You can serve it slightly warm, but it tastes just as good cold, and the really good thing about the lasagna is that you will probably make so much of it that you can have some for lunch tomorrow, which sounds absolutely delicious.
Have you taken the giant leap forward with the team at Metro Graphics? Metro...
Local Radio Central, that was Romantics with Talking in Your Sleep. And before that we had MKTO with God Only Knows. Now I have some very exciting news for you. On August the 21st, Nestlé announced a major pledge to improve the welfare of the farm animals in its supply chain, following the signature of a partnership agreement with NGO World Animal Protection. The agreement means that the hundreds of thousands of farms that supply Nestlé with its dairy, meat, poultry and eggs will have to comply with tighter animal welfare standards. Nestlé, with its global purchasing footprint, also becomes the first major food company to form an international partnership with an animal welfare NGO. World Animal Protection, which has been working with governments, communities and international agencies to improve animal welfare for more than 50 years, welcomed the agreement. Our decision to work with Nestlé is based upon their clear commitment to improving animal welfare and the lasting change this can have on millions of farm animals around the world, said Mike Baker, the organisation's chief executive. Nestlé has some 7,300 suppliers from whom it buys animal-derived products directly, everything from milk for its range of yogurts and ice creams to meat for its chilled foods and eggs for its fresh pastry and pasta. Each of these suppliers, in turn, buys from others, meaning that Nestlé's responsible sourcing guidelines apply to literally hundreds of thousands of farms around the world. We know that our consumers care about the welfare of farm animals, and we, as a company, are committed to ensuring the highest possible levels of farm animal welfare across our global supply chain, said Benjamin Ware, the company's manager of responsible sourcing. World Animal Protection has been working with Nestlé on specifically how to tighten and improve their responsible sourcing guideline, which all suppliers must adhere to as part of their supplier code. Both of these build upon the Nestlé commitment on animal farm welfare. These now include, for example, spacing requirements for the rearing of pens of certain species of animals, such as pigs and cows, to ensure that they are not cramped and can engage in normal animal behaviour. In addition, following the involvement of World Animal Protection, Nestlé's guidelines also seek to minimise pain for farm animals by using veterinary practices that reduce pain or avoiding the practices in the first place by different animal husbandry practices. An example would be the dehorning of cows. Cow horns are removed so they do not injure other cows. Nestlé has commissioned an independent auditor, SGS, to carry out checks to ensure the new standards of animal welfare are met on its supplying farms. In 2014, several hundred farm assessments have already been carried out worldwide. Some of these checks are also attended, unannounced, by World Animal Protection representatives whose role is to verify the auditors. When a violation is identified, Nestlé will work with the supplier to improve the treatment of farm animals to ensure that they meet the required standards. If, despite engagement and guidance from Nestlé, the company is unable or unwilling to show improvement, it will no longer supply Nestlé. The World Animal Protection Agreement forms part of Nestlé's broader responsible sourcing activities. These cover human rights, health and safety and environmental issues and build upon multiple commitments, including, for example, a pledge that by the end of next year, 40% of the company's key commodities, including meat, poultry, eggs and dairy, will be fully traceable. So that sounds like extremely good news for the animals, and we always like to hear about that.
Hi, Dave Ramsey again from Alexandra Hire and Landscaping Supplies. There's still a lot tonight.
Local Radio Central, that was Labyrinth with Beneath Your Beautiful. And before that we had the fantastic Randy Travis with Forever and Ever Amen. Now, SeaWorld as we know it today is over, says the Huffington Post Green. It's only a matter of time the company is finished. Here's why. The SeaWorld brand is now tarnished at best. Toxic? Likely. The brand represents the torture of whales for an increasing population of concerned citizens. If you love whales, and who doesn't, you don't like SeaWorld. Wall Street has turned on SeaWorld. The stock is down over the last year by 45% and $1.6 billion in market cap has evaporated. You can sometimes fight City Hall, but it's nearly impossible to fight Wall Street, and Wall Street is done with SeaWorld. Consumers are turning away from SeaWorld with attendance dropping 4.3% over the first 6 months of 2014. It takes forever and a day for consumers to return to a company once they have walked away. And they usually never come back. The internet has turned against SeaWorld. Blackfish, the Oceanic Preservation Society, the Dodo, and over 100,000 users on Change.org and many other sites have made it their business to actively campaign against SeaWorld's mistreatment of animals. SeaWorld can't survive that, plain and simple. So SeaWorld has proven itself totally inept in dealing with the first four things. They basically haven't got a clue. Business as usual is not a solution. SeaWorld can probably hold on for a few more years as its stock continues to fall into the single digits and its market cap becomes untenable. Or SeaWorld management and investors can hit the reset button, begin a program to provide a better life for the whales it has in captivity, be a worldwide leader and symbol of caring for animals, save its brand and save the company. I'm sure they can figure out a better use for those tanks. Well, as I said before, here in New Zealand, we banned aquariums a number of years ago now, and US and Japan are the world's largest supporters of these, with SeaWorld obviously in the US being the largest provider of aquariums. So if the tide turns against SeaWorld, that can only be good news for the cetaceans therein captured.
Paper Plus is a small local business employing Central Otago locals and proud to support many Central Otago schools, clubs.
Local Radio Central, that was Robbie Williams with Better Man, and before that we had Toots and the Maytals with Beautiful Woman. Now, got some very interesting news for you here about dolphins. Dolphins have a reputation for being happy, friendly animals, partly due to their incredible intelligence and flipper-like portrayal in the media. We've already exposed that dolphins are capable of being well, not very good, and have even been witnessed doing some rather strange things in the sea with dead fish. Now, they can also get high recreationally from a potentially lethal source. Emmy Award-winning filmmaker John Downer was filming the upcoming 2-part miniseries Dolphins, Spy in the Pod, when he noticed that bottlenose dolphins would gently chew on a pufferfish and then pass it to another dolphin in the pod. He noticed that after chewing on the pufferfish, the dolphins would look very tranquil and dazed. Then it hit him. These dolphins were getting high on the nerve toxin released by the pufferfish. If his prior knowledge of pufferfish toxin wasn't an indication of what these dolphins were doing, their subsequent behaviour was a dead giveaway. They spent a great deal of time observing their own reflection on the water's surface and acting very strange in general. Downer's crew was able to get this inside look through creative spy cameras, similar to what have been used for the many other documentary miniseries. Underwater shots were taken with fish-shaped cameras, while above-water shots were taken with a camera that looks like an inconspicuous sea turtle. With the dolphins surrounded by cameras that looked like normal everyday sea creatures, they were more relaxed and exhibited behaviour that may not have been captured with traditional filming techniques. So, yeah, that's very interesting, isn't it?
The Cancer Society is an independent charity. It was originally formed in 1920.